Hey everybody, this is Jason with Modeling Pros, and I want to take you through a few things that I've done on the P-40 Warhawk. First of all, let's talk about the propeller. The propeller on this aircraft is black. However, many of the World War II aircraft had yellow tips to the propeller blades, and this P-40 is no exception. So I'd like to take you through what I did to accomplish the propeller with the yellow tips. First of all, the propeller was airbrushed, a mixture of flat black and some paint thinner. Once that was done, I knew that I was going to have to tape the blades, as you can see here, when I went to paint the yellow on the tips. So what I did was, after having painted the propeller black, I covered it in a coat of this Johnson's floor wax, and that seals in the paint so that when I put the tape on, as you can see I've done here, the idea is that when I then peel the tape back off, it will not have damaged the paint at all because the floor wax was covering it. Now, what did I use to tape it? I used a combination here. Right on the edge, up close next to where I was going to paint the yellow, I used some Tamiya masking tape. But this is a little more expensive. It's better, but it's more expensive. So I just used it right on the edges, okay? And then below that, I just put some painter's tape to cover the rest. Now, many times on these aircraft, there will be a little line, kind of a raised plastic line, toward the end of the propeller blade. And that line can be used as sort of a guide to let you know where you want to tape, where you want to separate the yellow of the propeller from the black. This particular kit did not have those lines on the propeller blades, so I just guessed, really, and tried to get them all three about the same. So I'm going to take the tape off of just one of these. I just painted them just a few minutes ago. I'm going to take the tape off of one of these so you can see how it looks, and then I'll untape the rest of them later. The tape's really stuck to itself there. Okay, so there's that. You can see I've got the masking tape off, and I apologize if that went off camera for a second. I wasn't paying attention there. I've got the masking tape off. You can see here that I'm down to just the Tamiya tape, and I'm just going to kind of get that to come loose there. And voila, you can see that we've got a nice, let me get that up closer, it doesn't focus very well. Anyway, I've got a nice yellow tip there, both sides, and the other two blades will be the same kind of a situation. So that's one thing that I've done tonight. But the main thing that I want to talk to you tonight about is chipping. Now, chipping is something that I have never done before, so I'm going to try my hand at it. There are a lot of different techniques for doing chipping. Now, you might be wondering, well, what is chipping? Well, if you can imagine, as these planes have flown frequently in combat or just in their normal lifespan, there are going to be places where the paint chips, not just from flying, but as little doors on the plane that are used to access various innards of the plane are open and shut frequently. Paint will chip away, so on and so forth. You know, you're going to get chipping of paint in various places. Now, I spent some time looking at pictures of P-40s today. One of the problems that you run into when you're trying to look at pictures of World War II aircraft is that if you find actual photographs from World War II, they're usually in black and white. If you look at photographs of these same planes today, because many of them do still exist today, they've been refurbished. You know, they've been purchased by someone, and that person has restored the plane, and so modern photos of these planes are not heavily weathered, the paint's not chipped, So sometimes it can be a little difficult to know for sure exactly what they would look like. But I did find some good photos from World War II of P-40s. A few of them were actually even in color, and I was able to definitely see some chipping. I also spent some time researching the material that was used to make the skin of the P-40. It was an aluminum alloy, and an alloy is when they take the pure aluminum and mix it with other metals in order to make it stronger and or to make it resistant to corrosion. I found a website that said that aluminum could be mixed with a lot of different metals to create aluminum alloy, but no matter what metal it was mixed with, it would always appear silver. So I say all that to say this. If the plane was silver before it received any paint, and paint chips off, we would expect what's underneath to be silver. Well, you may have noticed that I've got some big silver streaks here, and I just painted those maybe 20 or 30 minutes ago. Now, the purpose of that is this. As the pilot is getting out of the plane, he's going to be stepping to one side or the other. And as he scuffles over, walks over the plane, or as mechanics walk up onto here to access whatever it is they may be accessing, you can imagine that the frequent activity on those parts of the wings, from walking, kneeling down, maybe setting a toolbox on it while somebody's working on it, is going to chip away some of that paint. So we would expect to see perhaps more chipping here, and also more chipping along the wing fronts is one of the things that I definitely noticed in the pictures, but more chipping here than maybe in other places. So what I've done is I've painted this silver. Okay, now I told you the next time I make a video this is all going to be olive drab. Well, apparently I lied. I was watching some tutorials last night on chipping, and like I said, there are a lot of different ways to do it, but I watched this one and I was pretty impressed by it, so I'm wanting to try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create an effect here of increased paint chipping from the frequent activity of pilots and mechanics' boots. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, this was a pretty neat idea. I've never done it, but we're going to see how it works. I am going to take this plate, and I am going to take a salt grinder here, okay? And I am going to grind up some salt on this plate. Now, the great thing about a salt grinder is that you're going to get all kinds of different sizes of salt. Okay, I apologize, that was off camera again. But at any rate, what I've done is I've just ground up some salt and put it on this plate. I'm going to do just a little bit more here. Okay, so now I've got some pieces of salt on this plate. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I have got myself a little vial of water here. Okay, and a paintbrush. I'm going to dip the paintbrush into the water, alright, and I'm going to wet this area here, the silver area, okay, on both sides. Just want to get it nice and moist. Alright, now I'm going to take some of this salt and I'm going to put it here on the wings, okay, over the silver. I don't want it really anywhere else, I just want it over the silver. And the water, the purpose of the water is to help the salt to stick, okay? Now I can see some of the salt wanting to fall off, so I'm just going to go back over it now with some more water just to help make sure that it sticks really well. I'm going to drag some of the salt that's gone in places I don't want it over here. Now you can't really see the salt on the wings, but it's there, okay? Now what's the point of that? The point of that is this. When I put down the olive drab, which I'm about to go do, the pieces of salt are going to prevent the drab from sticking wherever they are. And so what's going to happen then is after I'm done painting the olive drab, I'm going to brush off this salt with a fine sanding brush, and the olive drab that has stuck to the salt is going to come away. And what that's going to leave is the look of paint chips. Okay? And I'm going to be applying Tamiya acrylic olive drab XF62. So I'm going to go do that now, and then in my next video we'll find out together how that turned out. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.